Once upon a time, a dog named Max lived in a small village at the foot of a great mountain range. Max was a cheerful and curious dog who loved exploring the world around him. He spent his days chasing butterflies, playing fetch with the children, and wagging his tail at every passerby. Max's best friend and constant companion was his own shadow, which seemed to follow him everywhere he went. One sunny morning, as Max and his shadow were strolling through the village, they came across a shimmering lake. The water was crystal clear, reflecting the bright blue sky above. Max's eyes sparkled with excitement, and he couldn't resist the urge to cool off and take a refreshing dip. Without a second thought, he leaped into the lake, causing ripples to spread across the serene surface. To Max's surprise, his shadow also dove into the lake as he entered the water. As the two of them swam, Max noticed something peculiar. His shadow appeared to be stretching and elongating, reaching far beyond its usual size. The sight fascinated Max, and he couldn't help but try to outdo his shadow's length. With every stroke, he stretched himself to the limit, determined to have the longest shadow in the world. Unbeknownst to Max, his relentless pursuit of a long shadow had consequences. While he was focused on his own reflection in the water, a mischievous frog hopped onto Max's back. The frog, seeking some amusement, whispered, "You know, Max, if you want an even longer shadow, all you need to do is make yourself look bigger." Max's eyes widened with curiosity, and he listened intently to the frog's suggestion. He immediately puffed out his chest, arched his back, and stood on his tiptoes, trying to make himself appear larger. Much to his surprise, his shadow did indeed grow longer and more magnificent. Max was overjoyed with his accomplishment and continued strutting along the lake's edge, admiring his newfound shadow. As Max paraded through the village, his elongated shadow drew the attention of all the villagers. They marveled at his remarkable feat and showered him with praise and treats. Max reveled in the adoration and basked in his glory, oblivious to the consequences of his actions. Days turned into weeks, and Max became obsessed with his elongated shadow. He would spend hours perfecting his posture, contorting his body into various shapes, and searching for new ways to make his shadow even more impressive. His obsession grew stronger with each passing day, clouding his once joyful spirit. One evening, as Max and his shadow were taking their usual stroll, they encountered an elderly wise owl perched on a tree branch. The owl observed Max's exhausted and weary expression, sensing the turmoil within him. "Dear Max," the owl spoke gently, "I see the burden you carry, chasing after a shadow that grows longer but leaves your heart empty. True happiness does not come from the length of your shadow but from within." Max, filled with a mix of confusion and frustration, sat down before the wise owl and poured out his heart. He confessed his desire to have the longest shadow, believing it would bring him everlasting joy. The wise owl listened attentively, his wise eyes filled with compassion. "Max, my young friend," the owl said, "you have lost sight of what truly matters. Happiness cannot be measured by the length of a shadow. It resides in the simplest of things, the wag of your tail, the joy of play, and the warmth of friendship." Max pondered the owl's words, and slowly, the weight of his obsession began to lift. He realized that the love and admiration he had received from others were not because of his shadow's length, but because of the joy and kindness he had shared with them. From that day forward, Max decided to let go of his quest for the longest shadow. He embraced the simple pleasures of life, wagging his tail with abandon, playing with children, and relishing the beauty of each passing moment. His shadow, no longer elongated, remained faithfully by his side, a constant reminder of the lessons he had learned. Max's transformation inspired the villagers, who had also been caught up in their own pursuits of external measures of success. They began to appreciate the value of genuine happiness, friendship, and the beauty in life's small wonders. And so, Max, the dog who had once chased after his elongated shadow, became known throughout the village as a symbol of contentment and inner joy. His story spread far and wide, reminding people that the length of a shadow could never compare to the richness found within the heart.